Hi Year 9s. Okay, so today we are going to be starting Agamemnon, so hopefully you've got it with you, ready to go. What I'm going to do is just read sections of it, and then you're going to kind of read along, make notes with me, and then you're going to answer some questions and upload that onto class tasks so that I know that you're keeping up. So let's get going. So when you are opening up your Oresteia, which is what the book is called, the play is called Agamemnon, but the collection is called the Oresteia. So when you are opening up, you can kind of skip all the stuff at the start, like acknowledgements and stuff, skip the serpent and eagle stuff, and then we start around, where is it? So we start on page 98, and that's what it looks like, the starting bit. You've got your characters, the Watchman, which we see at the start. We've got Clytemnestra, who is our female lead. She is the wife to Agamemnon, very powerful woman, and a very dominant woman. She's very angry at her husband Agamemnon for what he did to their daughter. Understandably, you know, if my husband killed my daughter, I'd probably be pretty annoyed too. There's also a herald. A herald is a person that comes before someone of note, so, you know, a king or whatever, and announces their arrival. That's a herald. And then we have Agamemnon. Now, Agamemnon is a very powerful man. He's kind of like the king of this land, the nobleman of this land. And he went off to fight in the Battle of Troy for his brother Menelaus. Now Menelaus, remember we talked about the Battle of Troy the other day, but basically the Battle of Troy was about a guy called Paris, who was a young prince of Troy. Stole the wife of Menelaus, so Agamemnon's sister-in-law, stole her and took her back to Troy because he fell in love with her. And so Menelaus was very angry about that because he's like, hey, you can't steal my wife. So he went to his brother Agamemnon, and they rallied troops to go and fight Troy, to bring back Helen. And then there is Cassandra. Now, Cassandra is, she is a woman of Troy. She's actually Paris's cousin, and she's taken by Agamemnon as a kind of like a slave. But she's also Agamemnon's mistress, so he's also been having an affair with her. So that's just kind of another reason why Clytemnestra is going to be kind of angry at him. So that's Cassandra. Now, Cassandra has an interesting skill in that she was given the gift of being able to see into the future. She can also see into the past. So she kind of has these powers. The only problem with these powers is that she was given these powers, and then because she wouldn't have sex with the god that gave the powers to her, as a result, he was like, fine, you can have those powers, but the problem with these powers is that no one will ever believe you. So even though you know the truth, and even though you can see into the future, no one's going to believe you. So, and that obviously leads to her death later. So, and then there is Agamemnon, who is the so he is having an affair with Clytemnestra while Agamemnon has been off at Troy. So even though Clytemnestra is angry at Agamemnon for bringing back Cassandra, well, she was kind of having an affair too. So Agamemnon, he doesn't like Agamemnon either. So, I guess Clytemnestra and he have this in common. Maybe that's what brought them together. And he hates Agamemnon because Agamemnon did something horrible to his family. Basically, he killed Agamemnon killed Aegisthus' brother and sister, I think from memory, brother and sister, and cooked them and fed them to his father, which is, look, it's screwed up. It's screwed up. It's a valid reason not to like Agamemnon, in my opinion. And then we have the chorus. Now the chorus are made up of old men of this area, old men of Argos. Argos is the land that we're in. And so the chorus are like a group of guys that will come on and speak in unison. And they're supposed to kind of represent like the Argos community, particularly like the learned people of Argos. And then inside that group, that chorus group, there's then the leader, and he kind of comes out and speaks individually on behalf of the group sometimes. So yeah. All right. So they're the characters. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a background. Okay. So we will start with the Watchman. So setting the time and scene. Now what you'll notice is when we're reading a play is that, I don't know if you can see it. So on your page it'll look like this. So you'll have like a little box up here. Ooh, it's very hard to follow that. So see how that's in italics? That will be what we call the stage directions. And basically that is put there by Aeschylus to tell us like what things are supposed to look like, and sometimes like how things are supposed to be said or what actors are supposed to do. So they're the stage directions. So they're quite important to read and to kind of help you visualize what's going on. So it says, time and scene. A night in the 10th and final autumn of the Trojan War. In the house of Atreus in Argos. So we're at Agamemnon's house. Before it, an altar stands unlit. A watchman on the high roofs fights to stay awake. So if you can kind of picture like that we're kind of standing, in like a castle kind of area, and the watchman is kind of like looking over the battlements of the castle next to this altar that is unlit. Now the reason it's unlit is because he's only supposed to light it to communicate to Troy. So like the castle kind of looks out onto the sea, and then looking out to the sea on the other side is Troy. And that's how they kind of communicate to each other, is that they light this altar and then there's this big flame and they can kind of see it across the sea and they can kind of send messages to each other. And the watchman is actually watching for the light coming from Troy, because if they light that up, that's to symbolize that they've won, that the Trojan War is over, that they've won, that they're coming home. So there's always a watchman kind of watching. Okay, so let's hear what the watchman has to say. Dear gods, set me free from all the pain, the long watch I keep, 1 whole year awake. Propped on my arms, crouched on the roof of Atreus like a dog. I know the stars by heart, the armies of the night, and there in the lead, the ones that brought us snow or the crops of winter. Bring us all we have, our great blazing kings of the sky. I know them, when they rise and when they fall. And now I watch for the light, the signal fire breaking out of Troy, shouting Troy is taken. So she commands, full of her high hopes, that woman she manoeuvres like a man. And when I keep to my bed, soaked in dew, and the thoughts go groping through the night, and the good dreams that used to guard my sleep, not here, it's the old comrade, terror at my neck. I mustn't sleep. No. So this poor guy, he's sitting up there and just trying to keep himself awake because he's really tired, because he sits up there all night waiting to see this light. It never comes. Because remember, the Trojan War's been going for 10 years. So he's been sitting up there for 10 years every night, waiting for the light. It doesn't come. He's really bored. And it's like day in, day out. And then, as soon as the dawn comes up, he gets to go to bed, but he's not allowed to sleep till then. So he's trying to keep himself alive. And then he shakes himself awake. So like, look alive, sentry. So he's talking to himself, which, let's be honest, we all do when we're overtired. And I try to pick out tunes. I hum a little, a good cure for sleep, and the tears start. I cry for the hard times to come to the house, no longer run like the great place of old. Okay, so that's really interesting, where he says, I cry for the hard times come to the house, no longer run like a great place of old. Now that's interesting. So what he's saying is that since Agamemnon has left, this castle, this house, has kind of run into disrepair. And I don't think he's just talking about literally, I don't know, the gutters need cleaning out. I don't think he's talking like that. I think he's talking this place isn't what it used to be, in terms of the way that people behave and the respect that it carries. So because Agamemnon's been gone for so long, he's been gone for 10 years, the place is kind of losing its reputation. Okay. So that I just kind of underlined. I cry for the hard times come to our house, no longer run like the great place of old. I just underlined that and just wrote suffering next to it. Oh, for a blessed end to all our pain, some godsend burning through the dark. Then we have a stage direction. Light appears slowly in the east. He struggles to his feet and scans it. So he sees the light. There's a light. After 10 years, there's a light. And he says, I salute you. You, dawn of the darkness. You turn night to day. I see the light at last. They'll be dancing in the street of Argos. Thanks to you. Thanks to this new stroke of, aye! So he's screaming out to let everybody know. There's your signal, clear and true, my queen. So now he's talking to Clytemnestra, and he's calling out to Clytemnestra to tell her that, hey, the light is here. After 10 years, it's here. There's your signal, clear and true, my queen. Rise up from bed, hurry. Lift a cry of triumph through the house. Praise the gods for the beacon, if they've taken Troy. But there, it burns. Fire all the way. I'm for the morning dances. Master's luck is mine. A throw of the torch has brought us 666. We have won. My move now. He begins to dance, then breaking off, lost in thought. So he's celebrating. He's like, yes, we've won. This light is saying that we've won. So I just underlined where it says, but there it burns, fire all the way. I'm for morning dances. Master's luck is mine. A throw of the torches has brought us 666. We have won. And I just wrote next to it, realizes realizes that they won the Trojan War. Okay. Just bring him home, my king. I'll take your loving hand in mine, and then the rest is silence. The ox is on my tongue. Aye, but the house and these old stones, give them a voice, and what a tale they'd tell. And so would I, gladly. I speak to those who know, to those who don't, my mind's a blank. I'll never say a word. He climbs down off the roof and disappears into the palace through a side entrance. A chorus, the old men of Argos, who have not learned the news of the victory, enter and march around the altar. So a bunch of old guys then come onto the stage, and they're supposed to kind of represent like the people of Argos, and particularly like the kind of like respected, learned people of Argos. So they come in. Now, picture that they're all speaking at once. Okay, and when I say speaking, actually what they would be doing is singing. All of this would usually be sung, and lucky for you, I'm not going to do that, because no one needs that in their lives. But, I mean, feel free to sing along if that's your jam. No judgment. No judgment. All right. So the chorus speaks. 10 years gone, 10 to the day. Our great avenger went for Priam. So Priam is like the king of Troy. So our great avenger would be Agamemnon. So Agamemnon went for Troy. Menelaus and Lord Agamemnon, 2 kings with the power of Zeus, the twin throne, twin sepulchre, Atreus' sturdy yoke of sons, launched Greece in 1,000 ships, armadas cutting loose from the sands, from the land, armies amassed for the cause, the rescue. Okay, so what they're doing there is like setting the scene for, for them, I guess, the Trojan War. What they're going to do is like basically give us a recap of the Trojan War. Okay? So they're saying, Menelaus, Agamemnon, they're brothers, and like proper brothers, not just like brothers from another mother's. They're actual brothers, and they're both kings of their kingdoms. And they decided to go and get Helen, like we were saying before. Okay, so from within, while this is going on, from within, Clytemnestra raises a cry of triumph. So they're telling this story, and then all of a sudden you just hear this, yeah! Okay? So, this is the chorus continuing to speak. The heart within them screamed for all-out war. Like vultures robbed of their young, the agony sends them frenzied, soaring high from the nest. Round and round they wheel, they row wings, stroke upon the churning, thrashing stroke. But all labour, the bed of pain, the young are lost forever. Yet someone hears on high, Apollo, Pan, or Zeus, the piercing wail these guests of heaven raise, and drives out at the outlaws, late but true to revenge, stabbing fury. So we're getting this kind of idea that Agamemnon and Menelaus, they're like vultures. So, they're kind of, just flying around the top of Troy, circling, ready to kind of pounce down and swoop on their prey. So the chorus is trying to paint them as people who, as warriors, as like these really vicious men that will come and defeat their enemy, which at this point is Troy. So yeah. Then Clytemnestra appears at the doors and pauses with her entourage. So while the chorus is saying this, in the background we would see Clytemnestra kind of standing there listening to them, and she's kind of got her posse behind her, remembering that she's the queen of Argos. Okay. She's just standing there. So towering Zeus, the god of guests, drives Atreus' son at Paris. For all a woman manned by many, the generations wrestle, knees grinding into the dust. The manhood drains, the spear snaps in the first of blood rites that marry Greece and Troy. And now it goes as it goes, and where it ends is fate. And neither by the singeing flesh, nor the tipping cups of wine, nor the shedding burning tears, can you enchant away the rigid fury. So, he's saying, now they're saying like now it's up to the gods, and now it goes where it goes, and where it ends is fate. That they have no control over whether they're going to win or lose. That it's up to the fates. It's up to destiny. Remembering that they don't know yet that Troy has fallen and that Agamemnon and Menelaus have won. So Clytemnestra's in the background, and she starts lighting the altar fires. So the fire that was all set up, ready to go to signal back to Agamemnon that they can hear you, that they understand. So Clytemnestra is standing behind and is lighting those fires that were waiting to celebrate the victory. Now they kind of introduce themselves, the chorus introduce themselves, and they say, "We are the old dishonoured ones, the broken husks of men. Even though they cast us off, the rescue mission left us here to prop a child's strength upon a stick. What if the new sap rises in his chest? He has no soldiery in him, no more than we, and we are aged past aging. Gloss of the leaf shriveled, 3 legs at a time we falter on. Old men are children once again, a dream that sways and wavers in the hard light of day. But you, daughter of leader, queen, Clytemnestra, what now? What news? What message drives you through the citadel burning victims? Look, the city of the gods of Olympus, gods of the earth and public markets, all the altars blazing with your gifts. Argos blazes, torches race by the sunrise up her skies, drugged by the lulling holy oils, unadulterated, run from the dark vaults of kings. Tell us the news, what you can, what is right. Heal us, soothe our fears. Now the darkness comes to the fore. Now the hope glows through your victims, beating back this raw, relentless anguish gnawing at the heart." So, they are kind of talking about themselves, and they're saying, we are the old guys and we got left behind when Agamemnon went to war, that we were too old to go, and we were told to kind of preserve the palace. But that's kind of crazy because, they couldn't prop a child's strength upon a stick, that they were too old to do it. And that's why it's kind of run into disrepair. So they kind of feel bad. But then they see that Clytemnestra is lighting up the torches, and they kind of go, what's happened? What news can you tell us of? Heal us, soothe our fears. Like, what's happened? Are we okay? Like, who won? Like, what happened? So they want to know. But Clytemnestra ignores them, and she pursues her rituals. So she continues to light them. She just, ignores them and keeps lighting the torches. They assemble for the opening chorus. So then they kind of rearrange themselves into a group. And they continue. "Oh, but I still have the power to sound the gods' command at the roads that launch the kings. The gods breathe power through my song. The fighting strength, persuasion grows in the years. I sing how the flight of fury hurled the twin command. One will that hurled the young Greece, and power and the winged spear of vengeance straight for Troy. The kings of birds to kings of beaking prows, one black and one blazed of silver, skimmed the palace spearhead right, and swooping lower, all could see. The plunged their claws into the hair, a mother bursting with unborn young. babies spilling, quick spurts of blood, cut off the race just dashing into life. Cry, cry for death, but good win out glory in the end. So they're kind of telling this story about these two vultures, one black and one silver, and they kind of, circled their prey, a hare, which is it's like a wild rabbit, and kind of circled it and then swooped down and grabbed it. And then when it kind of ripped the rabbit open, it had like a whole lot of babies in it. And so they're kind of saying, is that like some sort of, is that some kind of signal for what's to come kind of thing? Cry, cry for death, but good win out glory in the end. That it's better to be glorious than good. Yeah. But good, but good win out glory in the end. Excuse me. But the loyal seer of the armies studied Atreus' sons, 2 sons with warring hearts. He saw 2 eagle kings devour the hare and spoke to things to come. Years pass, and the long hunts in the nets of the city of Priam, flocks beyond the walls, the kingdom of life, fate stamped them out. Just let no curse of the gods lour on us first, shatter our giant armour, forge to strangle Troy. I see pure Artemis bristle in pity. Yes, the flying hounds of the father slaughter for armies, their own victim, a woman, young, all born to die. She loathes the eagle's feasts. Cry, cry for death, but good win out glory in the end. Now that's a little hint towards what happened with Clytemnestra's daughter, where it's talking about pure Artemis bristled in pity. Yes, the flying hounds of the father slaughtered for armies, their own victim, a woman trembling, young, all born to die. They're actually referring to Clytemnestra's daughter, the one that was murdered, the one that was ritually sacrificed in order for Agamemnon to be able to go to Troy. Because what happened was, so Clytemnestra's daughter, with Agamemnon, Artemis, the god Artemis, said, I will help you and I will send you the wind that you need in order for your ships to go across the ocean. I will send you that wind, but for, I guess, payment, I want the life of your daughter, Agamemnon. And Agamemnon thought about it and didn't want to do it, but then decided that that's what they would have to do in order to win the war against Troy and get Helen back. So he sacrificed his only daughter to win the battle. So that's what they're hinting at there. So it's probably worth just like underlining that bit where it says their own victim, a woman trembling, young, all born to die. Cry, cry for death, but good wins out glory in the end. But good win out glory in the end. Where am I up to? Okay, so now they're kind of being a little bit like sarcastic. So they're Artemis, lovely Artemis, so kind to the ravening lion's tender, helpless cubs, the suckling young beasts that stalk the wilds. Bring this sign for all its fortune, all its brutal torment home to birth. I beg you, healing Apollo, soothe her before her crosswinds hold us down and moor the ships too long. Press us on to another victim, nothing sacred, no feast to be eaten, the architect of vengeance. Turning to the palace. So they look back at the palace. They say, architect of vengeance, growing strong in the house, with no fear of the husband, here she waits, the terror raging back and back in the future, the stealth, the law of the hearth, the mother, memory womb of fury, child avenging fury. All right, so now we're definitely talking about Clytemnestra. So they have noticed, the Chorists have noticed that, like, Clytemnestra, she's angry at Agamemnon for choosing to sacrifice his wife to kind of protect Menelaus's, I guess, like his, his pride, to protect Menelaus's pride, because with Menelaus's wife being stolen, in those days it looked bad on the husband that, like, you couldn't protect your wife and your wife got stolen because you're not manly enough. So Agamemnon choosing to sacrifice his daughter in order to protect his brother's pride, or to avenge his brother's pride, like, Clytemnestra is angry. And the chorus realise that, and so they are kind of, stating almost like a bit of a warning for us as the audience to kind of know that this is what's been going on in the 10 years that he's been away, that like she hasn't got over it, she's still angry, which, kind of fair. I don't know if my husband killed my daughter, I don't know if I'd be over it, even after 10 years. I think I'd still be like stewing a little. So they say, the architect of vengeance is growing strong in the house with no fear of the husband. Here she waits, the terror raging back and back in the future, the stealth, the law of the hearth, the mother, memory womb of a fury of fury, child avenging fury. So I would definitely underline from architect of vengeance to memory womb of fury, child avenging fury. And I just wrote next to it Clytemnestra angry, so I could find it. But yeah, so this is our first kind of inference of Clytemnestra's anger, and that she is going to be looking for vengeance. So I think that's definitely something worth kind of noting. What I might do is I might leave it there. So we'll stop at, where are we? At line 155, 56, 50, yeah, we'll leave it at 157, so we'll just mark it there. So we'll finish today. So what I want you to do now is to go to class tasks and have a look at the questions that I've left you there. I want you to answer those questions and then submit them online. Bam, 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 bam. Thank you very much. I'll see you later.